Hey, what's going on? This is Billy Newman, and you're listening to the Billy Newman Photo Podcast. It's August 11th today. Remember, the Perseid meteor shower is tonight and tomorrow night, I'm pretty sure. Head out, look up toward the northeast after midnight and before dawn, and you'll look up toward the constellation Perseus, where there's going to be a bunch of meteors coming through, or a bunch of shooting stars. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be pretty cool. There's a bit of a moon up tonight, though, so I guess you're going to see a bit of that, but it's fine. You'll still see some shooting stars with some moonlight. Right now, I am sitting in my truck. I'm enjoying an afternoon of August. I'm writing in my journal a bit. I'm trying to sketch out a few of the work projects that I'm trying to get done today. Man, I've been feeling like I sketch out a lot of stuff. I sort out, a bit of the tasks that I'm trying to get done with my day, and I try and keep up with it. But it's interesting. There's a level of indecision that I seem to go through. I was talking to a couple other people about this yesterday too. But it seems like when you're working on something for yourself, even though you're tasked and you kind of understand the big scope of the work that you're trying to get done, it just seems so big and so sort of enigmatic. You're not really sure if when you're working on it, you're actually getting anything done with it. Like this big website project I've been working on. It doesn't really feel like so much that any given hour that I put into trying to focus on figuring it out and getting those new pieces put together, it doesn't really seem like there's a ton that gets done, or there's some sort of indecision. Do I work on this part of it? Do I work on this part of it? Do I have to start here or start here or start here? It just kind of seems a little scattered, or it's kind of a frustration when you're working, or maybe it's an attitude or a mood that you get in when you're kind of working for yourself. And you're not really sure which thing to get to. What's the most important priority task to get to? And the website's interesting, but the problem that I always have with the website, the thing I'm always frustrated about when it comes to rebuilding that website is, I built it in, I think I was talking yesterday, in like 2008 the first time. I built it again when I was in college in 2009, 2010. I did more in 2012. I redid a bunch of graphics and stuff in 13. I did a ton of stuff in 2015 at the beginning of that year when I switched over to WordPress. And I've kind of redeveloped a few times since then in a few kind of light ways. And, there really isn't an insane amount of work. It's a good bit of writing. It's a good bit of graphics and content. But you can kind of put those pieces together all right. It's just the frustrating side of it is that I'm not Google.com. I'm not Apple, or I'm not some site that gets a lot of traffic. I'm not even some unpopular blog out there. It's just like a almost zero as it goes for traffic and search traffic or any kind of traction that I get for the stuff that I'm putting up on the website. And so in a big way, it's like, oh, okay, that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of time. It's a lot of hours to go and cut together a bunch of photos and the graphics and then build that into a resized thing of links to put together on your website that's responsive, that doesn't have these glitches in it, that links all to the right stuff. So it's good to do. It's cool. I'm happy I'm developing it. And I'm learning a bit about how that kind of world works. And I know that's a big part of it. Like, I know kind of going forward, I need to know how to do this. I need to know how to really proficiently get through InDesign and do digital publishing and get like ebooks put together, get photo books put together, some kind of publication piece that's kind of designed. I need to have those skills around that kind of go along with photography, going along with putting together, artistic, visual brand stuff. So I don't know. It's been weird kind of trying to figure it out, but there's a level of indecision that just comes along with, man, is this website or is this what I'm working on really effective? Is it really going to pay a lot of dividends when I'm finished with it? And in a general way, I'm trying to kind of revamp some stuff to do a few different things this fall. And so I think it's going to work out really well for me. Really, most of it is just trying to strip down the website, trying to get rid of things, trying to get rid of extraneous elements from it, and trying to make it just do a couple things in sort of a clean and sort of clearly explained way. And I'm happy with what I'm doing. I think it's cool, and I like doing revisions of work. So all of it's okay. I like doing web development stuff, but man, is it tedious sometimes. Like yesterday, I was just going through trying to build this new set of site graphics, and everything on the web has to be kind of resized and refit to sort of work appropriately on the web. I'm trying to build this auto-responsive grid that has a set of 8 links, 4 and then 4, 2 rows of 4 stacked on each other, and it's 8 links out to places on the website. And so I'm building all these custom graphics, and then I'm trying to load those into this grid plugin so that it runs animation and a hyperlink to run that out to another page. And it's just sort of a thing I'm trying to put together, but it's so many things. It's so many like individual projects. I mean, even just the first layer of the graphic, that's 8 images I have to find and then render at the right size. Then I have to load those into a web app, and then I have to add a design feature to it, and then I have to export that again, then I have to resize the image, then I have to load it to WordPress, then I have to put it in the plugin, then I have to resort it, and then put all the attributes to it, then add the link to it, then save it, and then I have to do that again and again and again. I have to do that 8 times, until it's finished. So it's just like a lot of stuff, and that's just that one piece. That's like, okay, and then now part 1 of this is done. And it's, oh man, that's duplication of a task 8 times, and it just goes on and on. So I don't know, I finished part of that yesterday. At least I got like a working version of it done. Today I'm going to try and focus on a gallery or like some kind of photo portfolio. And it's a lot of the photos that I've had for a long time, but I'm going to try and get those in a quick collection of like the 25 or 30 or so that I want to show in a portfolio sort of quickly on a page. I think that'll work out pretty well for me, but I'm going to try and rebuild that photographs page. I'm going to get rid of the portfolio page and the work portfolio stuff, and I'll try and kind of refocus what I'm thinking about for my work description. But I think this site's going to focus most on photography, and then it's going to push out a bunch, like I was saying, to Instagram and YouTube and Facebook stuff, which is a whole other story of things I need to do to produce for that. See, like I'm editing and I'm developing this website, but more than that, like I need to be editing and developing content and things to publish, new things, new graphics, new media items to publish for like YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. That's where I'm trying to put up as much as I can. But then more than that, even more than just like making a bunch of stuff there, I think where I'm falling behind is I need to be networking more on those. I don't know if you guys do that much. It seems like in a lot of ways, like the personal Facebook page or so, whatever that was, I focused a lot of my social media efforts on sort of my personal network of people around. And I think I really need to push, like I've been talking about forever and like I've been doing for a long time, but I need to push and I need to talk to and interact with, network with the further reach of people, like the further periphery of people on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube even, that are putting up a lot of content that's interesting, or a lot of people in the media field that are trying to do the same sort of thing. So I want to try and participate with those people more and be more connected with whatever kind of like-minded people I'd have camaraderie with in the media industry. So I want to try and connect with those people a little bit more, probably through Facebook. They're not in Junction City, it turns out. Like right now, again, I'm looking out into, 15 or 20 acres of empty dirt in this field after it's now been plowed, and they cut the hay, they baled it, they hauled it off, they rototilled it, they're going to amend the soil, then it's going to hang here for a few months until the fall. They're going to put sheep on it, and it's going to run like a whole other circuit. It's weird how they have a little system out here of how they cultivate this just acreage of land. It's just grass that grows on it. They grow the grass, they cut the grass, they harvest it and sell it, then they put sheep on it, they raise it, and then they sell it. But the point of it is, I'm sitting out here again, just kind of looking at this dirt again. So there's really nobody cool that's in the media industry out here for me to interact with and talk with and, get some kind of interesting advice from or insight from or future path or, whatever it is. There's nothing like that. So I want to try and push a lot to network with other people out there. And I have I go through, I try and do like a certain amount of whatever every day, or trying to like talk to people, try to see people's new photos. I'm trying to like look at my visual style too, and I want to work harder on that. I'm really happy that I got some of the equipment like I was talking about. I got a wide angle lens to do landscape and low light photography. I got that A7R. That's really going to help kick in modern image making for me. I'm really excited about that. But bigger than that, I'm trying to rework a little bit of how I edit or how I look at photos, and I don't know, just try to work out a couple visual style things that I want to try and sort out a little better. I was looking at other editing tools too. I use Lightroom all the time, but then there's this other one out there called Affinity. I think that's what it's called. Affinity is this other Photoshop-like photo editing app, and I think it's got a really powerful version that's out for the iPad or the iPad Pro right now. I think people are really interested and are surprised at how well some of the photo editing options work, or how closely they mirror all the good stuff you can do with Photoshop and the more complicated layering systems and tone control or curve adjustments that you can do in Photoshop. So I think it's kind of cool. A lot of that is probably extra on top of the photo editing level that I normally operate with. I want to take just the photograph as it is and then I want to adjust it, but I don't really want to do a lot of sharpening or a lot of additional layering and editing to bring out other elements in the photo. I'm kind of trying to keep it sort of as it was and then engineer that to be as good as it can be. So I don't know, a couple different takes on it of how people work with different image editing and raw processing equipment. But I think it'd be cool to try out. I was also looking at Phase 1. I think that's kind of worth a trial too. I was noticing that Phase 1 has, and this is something I don't understand completely, but I guess Phase 1, it builds the software or it builds it to work with each specific camera. It's not really a generic editor. So I'm not really sure what benefits it has or if it's some kind of better raw processing system. I've heard a few photographers interested in it or that they like it or, that they've processed their black and whites with it or whatever. And I'm sure it's really interesting, but it seems probably just in the same sense that I'm talking about right now, just the idea of being novel and not working with Lightroom as kind of what has become sort of a ubiquitous standard of photo editing. I think it's kind of interesting to do that because it sort of gives you a different set of creative tools, and maybe with that you're going to run down a different creative hierarchy of the choices you're going to make. So maybe you'll do things a little differently, or it'll change up, or kind of throw a little bit of a wrench into your normal process, so you have to kind of work around some stuff and maybe find some new avenues to make something interesting. Or I don't know, I've noticed that before when I try and work with new software, new equipment, new filters. Just sort of the opportunity to work with something a little bit different or a little new. It sort of excites whatever kind of creative stuff you're working on. So I think that's probably most of the stuff I'm going to talk about for this episode of the podcast. Didn't write down too many crazy things. But I think the rest of the day I'm going to try and work on a little bit of video stuff. I'm going to shoot with this new lens. It finally came. That 28 f2 lens is here for the A7R. I'm going to shoot a bunch with it. I want to try a bunch of low light stuff. I was saying that. A bunch of landscape stuff. And man, yeah, like I'm mentioning too, a lot of video stuff. I think that's going to be cool. I've been really frustrated with AVC HD though. It's that Sony HD format. I don't know. Maybe it's fine, but as I work with it on a computer, it's just a few too many extra things that I have to do to render it. I really wanted to just render out as an MP4, though I know there's some drawbacks to that. So I'm going to look into that a little bit and see what real drawbacks that would have for me in the video that I shoot, and sort of what I'm looking for: quality, high-end movie making stuff, or convenience, web video. What am I trying to do? What's the long-term goal here? In 2025, am I going to be upset that I had a 1080 1920 camera but I didn't record in it? Maybe I would be. I don't know. Maybe I'll be happy just having the videos in a format I can still read and then render. But I'm sure I can do that with everything. So just some thoughts about some of the stuff I'm working on. I'm back to trying to cut together some graphics for this website and trying to figure out some hyperlinking problems on it. So I'm going to try and figure that stuff out with the rest of my afternoon. I'm going to post a couple photographs, print a couple photographs, and then I'll try and figure out another one of these podcasts for sometime soon. So thanks a lot for listening to this episode of the Billy Newman Photo Podcast. My name is Billy Newman. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. You should throw them up on Instagram or YouTube or wherever you end up seeing this podcast. It'd be cool. But yeah, thanks a lot for listening. Have a good one. Bye.